Stand by. Okay, and quiet, please. And just so we get a good audio level, what we're going to do is say and spell your name and your title or affiliation here. And you're looking at me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Alan Berna. I'm a tribal elder. I've been here for 51 years. I'm just getting old with everybody else, I guess, you know. And I work for the environmental department, tribal environmental department.
One thing that is so difficult under BIA is that their version of land management or land protection is so much different from the tribe's perspective.
Yeah.
Because what's important to them and what's not important might be important to you.
Well, in my department, we're here to kind of keep good water quality for, you know, drinking water for the tribal people here on this side and the casino. And we're restoring an old slough waterway here, trying to get the fish back like it used to be. And it's a major project. I mean, it's taking a lot of work and time, and, you know, there's 3 of them in my department, and the 3 of us, we're pretty much taking care of what we can on, you know, would like to put together some type of wetlands project out here and build a greenhouse for bringing back native plants and put them back and restore them back in the area around here, which I've always called this place Alkali Flats because there's just nothing out here. Just salty ground, and it's hard to grow anything.
Do you think that's one of the reasons why you were relocated for the 3rd time?
Well, the way I see it, I don't think they could have did anything with this ground years back, so they just threw us down here. That's my thought.
Growing up, what kind of economic opportunities or jobs or agriculture, what kind of practices?
Well, in my department, we go to a lot of training, and most of it's for the water itself. You know, learning how to treat the water. We got a little minor arsenic problem in our water system, which with the new filtration system they're putting together should handle all that. We'll be back in compliance with the state, you know, EPA. It's a lot of work, a lot of thinking, a lot of paperwork.
How did this land get poisoned?
Well, there's got farmers all around us, and they're always spraying their herbicides, pesticides, whatever, you know. And it kind of drifts, and if it gets in the water, it flows with the water, comes down here. And our slough that we're restoring right now doesn't have any type of circulation. It's just like a long pond, and that's it, which is about 3/4 of a mile long. So what we're trying to do is get that cleaned up, and there's how many different possibilities we're thinking about, aeration system or circulation system somehow, which we're kind of in the middle of that right now, trying to figure out how to do
it. Is BIA enough?
No. I work off of grants, federal grants, and they've helped us out pretty good, but we got to show some kind of improvement off the money we're getting, and I think we're staying pretty good at it so far.
We've heard over and over that before the perfection of self-governance, that there were programs that up to 80% of those funds went to just BIA administration fees.
Pretty much from what I was told, but I couldn't really say how it goes now.
Well, how are you able to increase the efficiency and hold people accountable?
Well, that's a tough one, you know. I don't think I can really answer that one.
It's an ongoing struggle, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
How important then is water to the people?
It's important. Yeah, someday they may not have water. Everything's getting contaminated. You got to find ways to filter the contaminants out, and you know, that's the reason why they're looking at the ocean now, trying to figure a way to clean that stuff up, get the salts out of it. It's going to be a major problem someday.
The hot topic now is global warming, pollution. What kind of land management practices did your ancestors have?
Well, I know my great-grandfather farmed years ago. He used to raise alfalfa to keep his animals fed. And he had cattle and horses. That was years back, way before I even thought about being born.
But there was a respect
Yes, there was.
for the land.
Yep, they respect the land and each other's.
Because the land meant what?
Well, it's all they had. Didn't have anything else.
When you look around today and you see these changes, does it give you hope?
Yeah, it's doing real good from what I can tell. You know, when I was growing up, I had to work the fields. I chop cotton, cut grapes, pick cotton, berries, peaches, apricots. I did everything, you know. And usually I'd miss my first 2 weeks of school because we were working the fields just to be able to afford clothes to go to school. And that was all the way up until I was out of high school.
The impact for this next generation, how do you impart this respect of land?
Well, that's something that's hard to answer there too. It depends on the kids, how they grow up and how they're raised and how they look at themselves and what they want. And education would be the main thing they need.
How do we refocus maybe some of the education or some of the practices so we don't continue to repeat these mistakes of mismanagement from like the beginning?
Well, on that, I think some of the kids, you know, you have bright ones and you have some that takes a while to catch on to certain things. And I think good trade school of some sort for each of them, you know, figure out what their abilities are and teach them how to survive if something ever happened.
Do you think they can fathom being in a hot field, 110, 115 degrees, picking cotton?
Oh, I don't think so. I think they need to try it, though.
Why did you do that?
What's that?
Why did you have to do that again?
I had to survive, eat. That's the only way we can afford our clothes.
For this area and the amount of, do you feel like you're playing catch up from decades of mismanagement?
Pretty much, I think. Yeah, there's been a lot of mismanagement. You know, before they started making rules and regulations, I mean, I've worked with chemical companies from the past where they just dumped stuff right there on the ground. I mean, there was no laws or rules against it. I mean, sulfuric acids, high hazardous fertilizers, you know, that you get too much in one place and kill the ground. I mean, just makes it dead. Can't grow nothing for a few years.
Why do you think the Indian way was no pesticides, no clear cutting? Why?
Well, they had to live on that land. They didn't want to spoil it for the generation above them. You know, there's going to be generations and generations of kids coming up. You know, they got to just keep thinking about their future. And what I wish they'd do is just buy all the land around us. You know, just keep buying the property before it gets spoiled by somebody else.
And how might that happen?
Well, don't think too much about dairies. They get real smelly in a certain area, mostly in the hot part of the day and the wind's blowing the right way.
But the more you're able to restore your land, the more chance there is of a future.
Yes, there is.
What do you think that you've learned from watching this contamination and watching the poisoning of the water?
Well, I guess somehow we have to find a way to teach them not to do stuff like that. And it's usually a hard process.
Specifically, what would we want to teach them what not to do?
Well, just like driving along the riverbanks when I go fishing out here, I mean, people just going out there dumping trash just anywhere, you know. Then they wonder why they gate off the river. And, you know, that's just kind of a trash control. You know, they gate off the river, nobody can go out there. So it just takes one person to mess it up for others. I mean, you can drive out there now and just see piles all over the place. I mean, I used to fish out there, me and my wife, and we'd take our plastic bags, clean up a little area, and that's where we fished. Then haul the bags out with us. I mean, that was before I even started working for the environmental department. I mean, it was just common sense. I didn't want to see the mess around me.
That's good. That's good.